Hi, I'm Randy Jeffers here today with Mr. Dean Tornabene, former Mr. America, national powerlifting champion, and most importantly for us, the creator of the SOS Shakeoff system. And we are so excited, Dean. It's great to be with you, and we're excited for what you've done with this incredible system here. And I know there's so many people getting fantastic results from what you've done, and we're excited about that. But I want to just talk a little bit about you. And every time I have a chance to meet someone and get to know someone that has incredible success like you've had, I want to know how it happened. And I mean, to be Mr. America. I remember when I was a kid, Charles Atlas, and I don't know if you can remember that far back, but little kids like I was, you dream about that, and now to be sitting next to Mr. America is just an incredible thing. And tell us a little bit about how that happened to you.
Well, I was fortunate. I mean, I come from a background, obviously I'm Italian American, and my family has a terrific genetic tree. We have Olympians in our family. I was drafted into the Olympics at 15. So I was always training, I was always working out, I always had a terrific interest in food supplements and vitamins. Even when I was really, really young, I had built all my own exercise equipment because I couldn't afford a gym, and I used my parents' basement, much to their chagrin at some point. And little did I know, I was training myself for later in life when I would invent exercise equipment and create formulations. And basically, I moved here from Pittsburgh, ended up in Southern California, went to school here, got a degree in nutrition, went to chiropractic school, got out, and during that time, I decided I was going to train people, which no one had done before. So pretty soon I had an A-list clientele that I was traipsing into Gold's Gym, and at that time, Gold's Gym was like Jurassic Park. It was crazy, and I had all these rich clients and A-list celebrities, and no one had done personal training before. I actually started it. It had never happened before. But all this time I was competing myself and using myself as almost like a human experiment, because nutrition at that point wasn't as refined as it is now. So basically, I took what I love to do and what I do to love and started building my own supplements because they just didn't exist. There weren't products that were geared toward people to keep them lean all year round. A lot of times you would diet down for a show, Mr. America show, and 2 weeks later you look like the Michelin Man because you're going, what happened? Well, your body rebounds because you deprive it so much. So I thought to myself, there's got to be a way naturally that we can stay in shape all year, address these problems, and pretty soon, I made the critical error, and it was the best thing I ever did. I let a woman use my product, and it's like letting Frankenstein out of the lab, right? Once he gets out, you're never getting him back in there, and the word of mouth went crazy. And again, I had terrific celebrities, Stallone, Pierce Brosnan, huge people in the music and entertainment business, so that also helped me. And I took my school and all of my education to another level. When I started to win major bodybuilding and powerlifting shows, I began to write for Weider publications, Weider magazines, and shortly thereafter, some of the largest, actually the largest direct marketing MLM company in the world had approached me to create a formula for them because they had spent 2 years trying to reverse engineer my products. So in case if you can't beat them, you join them. So from that point on, I started not only to design my own products for supplements for myself, but for major, major companies, huge, huge companies. And then I further went into doing hard goods for TV, the ab roller, the ab rocker, all those products were my technologies. So I've been inventing, I guess, all my life. And this is really my passion, and supplements are my passion. And I think that when you do what you love and love what you do, I think you can't lose. And when you're empowering people with products that they can use to make them better, it's always like I say, you may not want to be a Mr. America, but if your house is 20,000 square feet and mine is 1,000, the tools are the same. So I take my professional grade tools and knowledge and I give them to people to get into their wedding dress, not to build a 20-inch arm, but they want to lose a few pounds, they're going to a reunion. You can use my methods for your own use, and that's basically what I've done.
I love that analogy you just used. It's a great analogy. So this system that you've developed, it's really, as you told me before, it's not just a system. It's just not like other things that you've done in the past, but this is really the culmination of all the things that you've done all your life, and now you've got something that's just far superior to anything out there, right?
Absolutely, and again, it has to make sense. There isn't, life is made of a multitude of components. There's just not one thing. And what I've noticed is that there's not a lot of products that are built synergistically to work together for what I call the lifestyle. And right now, the entire universe is shifting toward a very healthy lifestyle that they can maintain on a daily basis for the rest of their natural lives and share with their families and friends. And this SOS system epitomizes that system of having the proteins, the superfoods, the herbs, everything you'll need for all those areas of nutrition that are very critically important. Not just one, but all of them. So I like to call it a culture. It's a health culture. It's more than just a product, it's a lifestyle system. And that's what makes it different.
That's fabulous. Let me just ask you a personal question, if I could. Was there ever a time when you weren't Mr. America type? You know, a lot of kids, you know, they grow up and, you know, they dream about these kinds of things. But or were you always kind of muscular?
I was a child prodigy. Where you had the right parents. Every day I get up and I go, thank God for my mother and dad, because it's a game of genetics. But I was never, a lot of people, especially a lot of well-known fitness people, were somewhat overweight sometimes as a child, and that was never the case with me. We just had the best genetics, and I recognized it early, and so I just put them to use. So no, that never happened.
Well, what a great story. What does it feel like to be, you know, world-class material? You know, I mean, to be Mr. America, to be the national powerlifting champion, and you did that in the same year, right?
I did them 10 years apart, but it had never been done. No individual in either sport had won both titles. For example, it would be like going to the Olympic Games and winning the boxing, and then putting on the Greco-Roman gear and then winning the wrestling. It had never been done. So I thought to myself, I had retired from bodybuilding very young. I had done real well young, and I thought, I'm going to retire now. So about 10 years later, I was bored, and I go, you know what, I really like to powerlift. And I'm pretty good at it. So I thought, I'm going to power. So 6 months later, I had won the National Powerlifting Championships as well. So there was some time apart between them, but, and there's still time for a return. Break some of my old records, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Now I understand you also have done something else that very few people have done, and that's you've been able to bench press, is it 4 times your weight?
Well, not just bench press, but what I was able to do is I've gone 4 times my weight in the squat,
Okay.
and the bench, and the deadlift, and then 3 times in bench, which has never happened before. And I set 4 records in one day in a powerlifting meet, which has also never been done. Because if you're doing a 3 lift meet, most people will just say, look, I'm not going to bench day, I'm not going to squat, but I'm going to set a deadlift record. But to max out in all the lifts in one day, as you might imagine, is very, very difficult.
I can't imagine it.
It just happened. That's all. I was lucky.
So what does it feel like, you know, to be, you know, when you got crowned Mr. America and you're standing up there? How does that feel? What goes through your mind at that moment?
It was a good feeling. It was definitely one of the key times in my life that I remember. And then afterwards, turning pro and going, you know, international, you know, facing the best guys from every country, which is really great because you're battling with the best guys in Europe, you know, in Asia, and it's incredible because there's a different flag and you're representing our country. So it was really, really cool because I was fortunate. I was able to turn pro very young. And I was a boy beating up on men. I mean, these guys were idols of mine, and I was beating them. So I was going, wow, this is kind of crazy because, you know, I idolize you and I just beat you. So it was amazing. It was humbling as well. I really never took it for granted. Even now, that's why I still train. I mean, I'm so religious to this lifestyle because for me, it is a lifestyle. And more across the country now and across the globe, people need to be healthy to cope with the stress. Forget about looking good, because we all want to look good, but to cope with the stress of life, you need to be strong. And this is the terrific insurance policy to make sure that you stay strong and feel good, that you can share with your family and friends. And I think the best thing to do in life is if you do something well, you share it with other people, you pay it forward.
Well, Dean, I'll tell you, thanks for sharing, you know, your personal life and your story.
Thank you.
It's just such an honor to know you and to learn a little bit about you. So thanks for being with us. And,
thanks for having me.
You know, we just look forward to so many exciting times together now with this new SOS Shakeoff system. And I think there's going to be so many thousands of people blessed by what you've done, and it couldn't have been done if you didn't have all those life experiences that you had.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what created it all, right?
Absolutely. I mean, this is a culmination of probably 25 to 30 years of research and a lot of times doing experiments on myself, which, you know, oftentimes didn't turn out well. I would send stuff to my family to try. I'd get a phone call going, don't send any more stuff. I've been on the toilet for 3 days. I'm going, but you lost weight. So we hit our mark. So
I want to just ask you, I want to leave you with one last question if I could. You know, a lot of people are looking for success in their life in all kinds of areas, and success. I'm sure we have mutual friends that work out with you, and I'm sure you just make it look easy. Because it's easy to you. You've been doing it all your life, but it took some effort along the way. I'm sure. There had to be some tough times in there.
Oh, it was brutal. I mean, make no mistake. And when you learn early, I mean, one premise I live by is I'm not really a goal setter, because for me, when you set a goal, you think of what you want to do. And I always say, I don't look at the end, I look from the end. So in my mind, I'm already where I want to be, and it just happens. So there's a lot of, how should I say, mental conditioning that goes along with it. So it's very, very important. I implement those things in my days all the time.
What kind of advice would you have for somebody that's listening to us right now that, maybe they've lost hope in life? Let's just talk about someone that maybe wants to use this product. Maybe they've gotten themselves physically in a situation where they're a little bit out of sync with where they should be, and maybe they're a little bit overweight, or maybe they're a lot overweight, but maybe they've just given up hope, and maybe some of that has come as a result of some loss of hope in other areas of their life. What advice do you have for those people?
Well, I think you're right. I think there's a commonality. I think that when one excels, physically, mentally, spiritually, whatever, that's the common thread. And whatever one can do to increase the sense of self-worth or well-being, it's going to open that door where you're going to look great, but also you're going to feel great, and you're going to think great, and what you think becomes real. So I think that if someone says, look, I have my last straw, I've tried every deprivation, despair diet in the world. This isn't a diet, this isn't some type of a restrictive plan. This is a plan that opens the doors of prosperity, not only physically, but all the way around. So this is your next stop. If someone's in the place where they're hopeless, hope is here, the answer is here. No question.
Well, Dean, thanks again, and if you're out there and you're listening to this, this is something that can change your life. It's an incredible system, the SOS Shakeoff System, created and formulated by Mr. America himself, Mr. Dean Tornabene. So we're excited and to have you on board with us, and we look forward to incredible results. Here's to your absolutely incredible success.